The fantasy football playoffs are almost here. If you need waiver wire help ahead of week 10 of the fantasy football season of 2022, my name is Herms. I'm your guy here to help you out, and this is the Lateral Show. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Lateral Show. Fasten your seatbelts, because here we go.
Welcome back to another edition of the Lateral Show, a sideways look at fantasy football. My name is Herms. You can follow me on Twitter at HermsNFL, and this is the Week 10 Fantasy Football 2022 Season Waiver Wire Preview, or whatever the official name of the video is. Anyway, I'm on the road in a hotel room in Atlanta, so I'm going to be a little more quiet, a little less enthusiastic than I am normally, but I've got tons of great information to go over with you in this video previewing my Week 10 waiver wire article. If you want to read the entire article, you have to get behind the paywall. And because I'm only going over the free portion of it, I am only going over a few names. I have a whole list of names that I go over with some in-depth analysis, but you have to have an all-access plan to the website. fantasysixpack.net/plans is how you can find the information for that, because when you sign up, you get the rest of my article and DFS tools, award-winning rankings, and access to the Fantasy Six Pack Discord community. All pretty cool stuff. Now, before we go any further, if you don't already subscribe to the YouTube channel, go ahead, find that little button, and click it. And if you see another one that looks like a thumbs up, go ahead and click that too. We'd really appreciate it. Now, to start out, if you need a streaming quarterback this week, might I recommend Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. Now, last time we saw Jones in the Giants, it wasn't a particularly good performance. But remember, Daniel Jones is the QB 13 in fantasy this season already. And to make matters even better, he has the fourth most rushing yards of any quarterback in the NFL this year. With his next couple games coming up against the Houston Texans and the Detroit Lions, he has a very easy schedule going for him, which makes him an ideal candidate to be a streaming quarterback for your fantasy team. Unless you're in the 47.4% of ESPN leagues that Justin Fields is still available in, but I don't know what to tell you about that one. I found that when I was looking the stuff up. It's bonkers, right? Absolutely nuts. Anyway, moving on to running back, Jeff Wilson Jr. of the Miami Dolphins, in his debut, did really, really well. He finished as the RB7 in PPR with a combined 11 touches and a touchdown in the receiving game. The workload between him and Raheem Mostert was split pretty evenly, and I think as long as this trend continues, then he will be a weekly flex option in your lineup. Moving quickly over to tight end, I would like to point out that Greg Dulcich of the Denver Broncos has already secured 17 targets in his first 3 NFL games and is the tight end 6 in PPR points per game with 12.1. Now, I'm not sharing any new information because the Denver Broncos had their bye week in Week 9, but I felt it was important to bring it up again in case you still need a tight end. It's not very often that we talk about rookie tight ends in fantasy, but this guy, he's really special. Now, to close out, we're going to talk about a couple of wide receivers. One of them is Terrance Marshall Jr. of the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, I know, it sounds a little weird to be talking about him. If you had told me ahead of the season that I'd be talking about Terrance Marshall Jr. off of the waiver wire, I would have called you nuts. But here we are. He's been pretty good lately. And since Week 7, he is the wide receiver 30 overall in PPR scoring and has 18 targets in his last 3 games. The Panthers' offense does not possess a ton of upside, but as long as he continues seeing this work, he should be a valid wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, or perhaps desperate flex option for your fantasy lineup. And to close, even though he's not on a team yet, we did get reports that Odell Beckham Jr. is very close to coming back from recovering from his ACL injury he sustained as a member of the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl. It's hard to imagine that OBJ would pick signing with a team that's not a contender. So wherever he ends up going, he's probably going to make an immediate impact. Keep in mind, after joining the Los Angeles Rams in Week 10 last year through Week 17, He ended up as the wide receiver 27 overall in PPR scoring. That's the type of impact that this player could have wherever he ends up signing. That will do it for this Week 10 waiver wire preview. But if you want to read the rest of my article, like I said before, you can go to fantasy6pack.net/plans to check out the all access pass for my article, the DFS tools, the award-winning rankings, and access to the Discord community. I hope you all enjoyed this, and best of luck out on the waiver wire and in your fantasy league the rest of the way. My name is Herms on Twitter at HermsNFL, and this has been another edition of The Lateral Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Lateral Show. Fasten your seatbelts, because here we go.